So another question that we'll get quite a bit is how do I know if my CPA is doing a good job for me or not? This is kind of a tough question. Because
kind of puts me on
I
the
know
spot,
there's
right?
probably more things than just a little bit. That's okay. Well, look, I mean, most of the practice owners that we deal with understand like metrics. Okay, yes. I have metrics I have to follow. And right. In my business, how many new patients have I had? What's my average transaction and all these different things. So, I don't think it's unreasonable to assume that if I'm going to hire a financial team, like everybody has to have certain metrics that they have, like a stat, okay, that will at least give me some representation of how I'm doing, and what direction I'm, or what kind of quality of advice that I'm getting. Sure. So what would you like? Do you have a couple, and maybe that's not even a metric. Maybe it's just like a relationship dialogue as well, because I think that also is part of it too. I mean, here's what we usually get. Every time I go see my CPA, I come out and I have 1,000 misunderstood words because I have no idea what they just said to me. I'm like, that's a bad relationship. You don't want anybody talking over your head. So do you have any insight on that? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I do. And you frame it accurately, Eric. It should be a relationship. Okay. And, ironically, the metrics that we use to measure the effectiveness of a CPA relationship or an accounting relationship aren't all empirical. Okay. So it's not all about the numbers. A good right. relationship with your tax planner or tax advisor should produce some tax savings, right? Okay. You should not pay more than you need to, or more than your fair share of taxes. And we study all the laws and the changes and things like that help you become tax efficient and not pay more than you need to. And, unfortunately, as business owners, the odds are stacked against you with the way the tax laws are written. So it's our job as professionals to know and understand how we get that advantage back on your side and put more money in your pocket. So that's one thing. So tax savings is a small part of the overall kind of evaluation of the performance of your CPA. And realistically, we don't always have this magic bullet that saves you a ton of money. Now, there are certain things we can do that will save you things, but we're not always going to have big tax savings. I think some of the more important measures are obviously accuracy. They got to be able to produce good work and get the numbers right. And that's important. Make sure the tax returns are right. They should be. But timeliness, effective communication, and you hit it right on the head. Walking out of a meeting with the CPA should not leave your head foggy and fuzzy, right? You should have a clear understanding yes. of what they're trying to communicate to you. And I pride myself, and my firm prides ourselves on being effective communicators in plain English. Okay, we can all speak accountant speak as CPAs and tax practitioners, but that doesn't do the average business owner any bit of good if they don't understand what the heck we're talking about, right? So, yes. So we pride ourselves on being able to communicate to you in a way that you can understand what's important in managing your numbers and managing your business and kind of doing the things you need to do, which levers you need to push and pull to get the right outcome. So communication is so important. Another key piece is being proactive. Okay. When's the last time your accountant came to you with an idea about how to save? Or does that relationship look like, hey, I read this or heard this about, from my colleagues that said, oh, they're doing this. Why aren't we doing this? We get that a lot when there are new prospects coming to us. And the idea is we study this stuff. We know these things, and we should be bringing you those opportunities and ideas because we know you as a client, and we know your business, and we know the things that you encounter in your everyday business, and we should be looking at those things and say, okay, this situation should apply to this practice, and let's talk about whether or not it makes sense. And so being proactive with those things that could help you manage your situation, are key. And then, of course, I always try to tell people you should think of our relationship as an investment. We should be providing some sort of value to you in your wealth building process, not just your tax savings process. Because to me, a good outcome is you as a business owner viewing your business as an investment and building wealth, not just saving and paying the least amount of tax. So there should be some value in what we bring to the table when we talk to you about things that you can do for your business. Those are the most important things that you should use to gauge the relationship you have with your CPA. Is that relationship more you asking questions, waiting for answers that you may or may not ever get, and then not understanding the answer? Or should it be, hey, we have a good conversation, they're part of our team, they're helping us, get better outcomes and manage what we do. And again, building wealth is the key. Use that business as an investment so that you can have a good positive outcome.
I'm not going to BS you. That was one of the best answers on what you should expect from a CPA that I've ever heard, man. I'm serious.
Well, thank you.
I wrote every single one of those down. That was awesome.
Well, we have it on tape too, so we could always go back to it, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to go back and cover my notes, but this is one of these things where people always, as a financial advisor, of course, we seem to be just like, okay, let me just look at your effective tax rate. Because that seems to me like that is the measurement for of how your tax team is doing. But that's not really the case, because there could be a number of things that would sure. have an impact on that effective tax rate. You could be growing exponentially. You could who knows, right? So I think all these other things certainly have are of equal of importance as that. Because it really does kind of get down to like what the nitty gritty is of the relationship and what you should expect out of them.